Kentucky fans seem to be overreacting to the win against Western Kentucky. We're going to tell you why you shouldn't be doing that on today's episode of the Wildcats Today Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, writer and editor over at Kentucky Wildcats on SI, joined by Carson Nash. Carson's in Pittsburgh. He's getting ready to go tour Heinz Field, a home of the bad guys, unless you're Trevor Rogers. How's Pittsburgh? How is Pittsburgh?
Absolutely freezing.
Oh, yeah.
There I go. All right, we're having some network connection issues in the hotel.
You were talking through it. Yeah, you're in the hotel. You got that.
Okay.
You got
okay, so you can hear me through. That's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's absolutely freezing here.
Hell, it's freezing here.
No, but this is another level of freezing. But yeah, so it's cold in Pittsburgh. I'm excited. I'm here with the Center Colonels. Hopefully getting a playoff victory this weekend. But yeah. Good times. Unfortunately, going to miss the big football game this weekend between the Cats and the Cards, but had to go be a brother for a weekend.
Anyway. Probably more talent on the field between the two teams. So Carson, this Western Kentucky game, and we'll break it down. We'll talk a little bit about Georgia State and the Panthers, but well, the first thing I called you and told you after the game when we talked to the phone and we both agreed, we said, I'd rather not play our best game and win by 19 than not play our best game and win a last second game or lose. But at the end of the day, I'd rather not play our best and win. That's the reality. And Kentucky didn't play their best basketball game and won by 19 points against an NCAA tournament team that returned 8 players. I don't and we're going to talk about it. Do I have some things to discuss about Amari and his passing? Yes. I mean, there's some things to nitpick, but you won the game by 19 points. So, Carson, I mean, do you agree with me here? How do you kind of feel about this game?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel the same way as you do. I know we talked on the phone after the game, but I think anytime, look at these past couple of years, right? That's a game where you have a good team in Rupp Arena that's a tournament team.
Yeah.
That team could have easily beat you if you let them hang around. They have the guys that can beat you. They have high-quality transfers. They have good young guys. They play with fire. They're well-coached. That's a good team that will cause people some issues this season, and they will be in the tournament. I bet you they will be in the tournament. But like I said, last year, you lose to UMC Wilmington in kind of like a similar game where your shots aren't falling in. And instead of separating by playing good defense and getting easy buckets at the rim, we let them hang around and they beat us at the end. And instead, we changed up the lineups. We tried different things and got good shots at the rim because our threes weren't falling and capitalized and ended up winning by 19 points. So I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at even just the box score here, Carson, the first thing that stands out to me, you won both halves. You won the first half 45-33 and the second half 35-42. So you won both halves. It's not like it was one of those games where you were down 7 at the half and then you kind of just blew them out in the second, or you were up 22 in the first half and then they played well in the second half. You end up winning the game by 11 points or something. It wasn't like that. I mean, you won both halves. Now, there are things to nitpick. I mean, we're not going to sit here and say this was the perfect game and they were awesome. I mean, Amari Williams turned the ball over 6 times, and we need to talk about that, Carson. So this team, it's funny. I saw people saying, well, Kentucky has turnover issues. Amari Williams turned the ball over 6 times. Kentucky, as a team, turned it over. The rest of the team turned it over 5 times. He had 11 turnovers. So what are your thoughts on Amari Williams and kind of the turnover issues we've seen early into the season? I want to pull up his season-long stats, but I'm a little concerned, and we'll talk about it, but what are your thoughts, Carson?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned too, but I don't think it's because he shouldn't be passing the ball as much. I think he may be forcing it a little more than he should be. I think he has the right ideas. It's that he's not capitalizing on all the passes, and I just think maybe he needs to, instead of throwing it 6 times, maybe throw it 3 times, and look for different players, different sets. I don't know. you need to be able to find a way to get him comfortable so he doesn't have to make the spectacular pass. How about we make the easy pass first? I feel like Amari always looks for the spectacular pass, but maybe we just simplify it and make the easy pass.
To me, it's funny. It reminds me of an off-season conversation we had about Kirk Kriisa. Because, you watch film on him, and Kirk Kriisa is a guy who, was liable to turn the ball over here and there. He's actually, I think, been pretty darn solid now he's playing less minutes than he's used to. But still, you get the point. He's been solid taking care of the basketball at this point. But Amari, you're exactly right, Carson. I think that Amari Williams is just doing a little too much. We play a beautiful brand of basketball right now, a beautiful brand of basketball that has to do with ball movement and cutting to the rim and getting open shots and taking the extra pass. But that brand of basketball doesn't necessarily mean you have to make the circus passes. And there's some passes that, and not all of the turnovers have been just like, oh, I'm going to thread it between this guy's legs and get it to Ortega for a wide open layup. Like, they've not all been like that. There've just been some flat out just bad passes, but there's been some silly passes. To me, I think you need to eliminate the silly passes. People are going to make mistakes. Mistakes happen. Mistakes are, just you flat out make a bad pass, but that would have been a good pass if you got it to them. What I'm saying is the passes like that, where you're trying to like bounce it between two defenders to where a cutting Ortega can catch it and lay it in, to where if you make the pass right, it's a basket. But, I'd say 3 times out of 10, it's a basket. 7 times out of 10, it's turnover. I'd eliminate those. We're too good of a shooting and an offensive team to turn the ball over trying to make circus passes. Our offense gets people open. So that's what I would want to eliminate. And I believe if you eliminate that, Amari's still going to turn it over once, twice a game. Because, once again, I think people are forgetting this. Now, 6 turnovers is a lot, even if he was a point guard. You don't – but, I mean – he's assisting as well. Like, let's pull up the number. Do you remember how many assists he had in the game? Carson, I don't. I can pull it up in 3 seconds.
I can pull it up right now.
Here, I've already got it.
3. So it's a 0.5 assist turnover ratio.
Yeah, quick maths. But, that's kind of my thoughts here. It's very simple. It's, he's been getting assists every game. 2, 3 assists. And I believe he had actually a good amount in the first game, didn't he? Didn't he have like a whole bunch of? Yeah, he had. He had 3 as well. So 3, 2, 3 assists on the year. So he's getting assists. It's taking care of the turnovers. But then you look at the turnovers: 4, 5, 1, 2, 0, 6. He did a good job against Duke, only turning the ball over 1 time. You take that, but. I mean, that is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It's 19 turnovers through 6 games compared to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15 assists. So that's not a positive, assist turnover ratio. So to me, it's simple fix, Carson. It's don't do the circus stuff. And I bet if he doesn't, he probably has maybe 11 turnovers right now instead of 19.
And I mean, people are, like you said, people are going to make mistakes. People are going to turn the ball over. It's eliminating the silly ones because you still want Amari Williams facilitating your offense because it gives you open looks. Yeah. So, and I mean, Amari Williams is a daggone good player. Like Evan Maya recently released the statistics and analytics. He is the number 1 overall rated defensive center in college basketball right now, rebounding wise and defensive wise. So he gives you so much good that you have to live with his mistakes. You just can't have him make the silly mistakes.
Yes.
And if he limits those, he should make an all-SEC team, one of the all-SEC teams.
You're exactly right. But, I mean, that's what I've seen a lot of complaining from BBN. And I get it. I mean, the dude turned the ball over 6 times. We're not going to sit here and say, I mean, no, you're right. You have every right to be frustrated.
I know we were frustrated too watching.
Yeah. Because you watch it and you go, whoa, no, why? Why that? Why that pass? And that's kind of like the reaction you have to it. So I kind of looking at this with Amari Williams and I say, like, we have got to find a way to get him more just dialed in on this passing because we know that I saw someone, I think, commented on our show, Carson, after the game and said, like, I'm done with the Amari Williams, kind of point guard experience. And I get that's a fair opinion. He's turning the ball over. Fully get what you're saying. But at the end of the day, that's what this offense is. You know what I mean? That's what it is. So I don't think they're going to completely change the makeup of this offense, 6 games into the season. That's what this offense is going to be. He's got to continue to dial in. Once again, he's played one game against a legit team, and he turned it over one time. So you got to hope that the turnovers are just him trying to do too much against these not as great opponents. But I do think people are a tad bit overreacting to everything going on with Amari Williams.
Yeah, I mean, he's averaging 9.3 points, 10.7 rebounds a game, basically a double-double.
Yeah.
He's averaging 2 blocks a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you take all that. Like, he's playing good basketball other than his silly turnovers.
Yes. I mean, if he has 11 turnovers right now instead of 19, which, I mean, obviously that's a big if, but the point stands, like, then we're looking at him going, man, I mean, it's an all SEC player. And I still am looking at him that way anyway. But I agree. I mean, I believe he's going to turn this around and it's not going to be a long-term issue. But I also do believe that, hey, let's dial this in a little bit. We need to stop. We need to take care of the basketball. Because once you get into SEC play, which is going to be an absolute everyday gauntlet battle, you can't have one player turning the ball over 6 times. Can't happen. So, I mean, any other thoughts from the WKU game, Carson? I mean, we kind of hyper-focused on Amari Williams. Any other kind of thoughts from the game?
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk a little bit about the backup center, who I think has been really, really good, Brandon Garrison. I mean, his touch and his paint presence around the rim has been a lot better than I expected early on. What did you see from him? What do you like from him?
I agree. A couple games into the season, I was kind of like, what's Brandon Garrison going to kind of do here? I don't know. I was kind of early into the year. But then he's dialed it in a little bit. I ain't going to sit here and lie to you. He's looked solid. I've been impressed with the way he's looked. I mean, he was a huge part of the win over Duke. A huge part of the win over Duke. I mean, those buckets at that, whatever, 10, 11, 12 mark of the second half, where he kind of went on a little personal run, were huge. So I'm a big Brandon Garrison fan. And as we've said all offseason, next year, watch out, going to be a scary sight. So I've just been really –
I just feel like I'm singling him out because I feel like as much as we talk about Amari's mistakes, BG kind of feels like a guy that makes no mistakes, Like he seems like him and Ansley are the 2 guys that come in and I'm like, wow, they are so fundamentally sound and like so crisp. They rarely make mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, Garrison's only turned the ball over 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see how many times he turned it over in the first game. He's turned the ball over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's turned the ball over 5 times on the year, but he's got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 assists. 18 assists, 5 turnovers in the year for Brandon Garrison.
For a center.
Yeah. And
that's really, really good.
That'll work. But, to me, I was really impressed with Andrew Carr in this game. I feel like I'm always really impressed with Andrew Carr in this game.
He's just
in every game. Otega Owe was great once again. Yeah. Jackson Robinson, the 8 first half points and no second half points kind of hurt someone who bet on him to score 15 points. But that's okay. I don't know who that guy is.
I feel like Jax always does that, though. He's been a guy that gets hot in the first, and then I feel like he just does not do anything in the second.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm with you. Lamont had a good stat line, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Didn't turn the ball over a single time, had a steal.
Yeah, I thought he played really good.
Yeah.
Good showing for my player of the game prediction.
I also, Carson, thought something here. I think that this was our first closer game that wasn't Duke. I mean, obviously, we kind of pulled away, but there were points where it was a 10-point game. Kind of, we score a bucket, they score a bucket, and run 10 points. And Almanor and Chandler played 7 and 4 minutes, respectfully. I have a feeling we're going to see this kind of get down to that, where you don't see them play a ton of minutes. And I mean, now Almanor, I think, is going to play, like we saw, is going to play more minutes than Colin Chandler. I'm a believer in Colin Chandler in the future, but I do also, like I said, think that we're going to see a lot less of him in these big time games, unless he really starts to kind of dial it in, step it up. Any disagreements there?
No agreements. But I also like the fact that I think that Pope feels confident enough to call on them if need be, if a matchup occurs where we need them.
Yeah, no question there. A couple things I like to see in this game as well. I mean, you were continuing to dominate on the glass. We had 54 rebounds to their 41. Both of your big guys had 10 rebounds apiece. Love that. Amari had 10. Andrew Carr had 10. Love to see Andrew Carr getting involved in the boards.
They go up so strong too. I love that, especially with the past few years that we've had with rebounding.
Yeah. And then we also had 16 offensive rebounds. Now they had 16, or they had 12 offensive rebounds, which I would love to keep that number lower than 12.
Yeah.
But still, we had 16. That's what Coach Pope's looking for. 16 offensive rebounds is going to win us a lot of basketball games.
It won us this one, right? I mean, your shots aren't falling, more possessions.
Yeah, I want to see. Do we have a? What was our? Tell me what our second chance points were here. No, why would ESPN tell you such a crucial stat like that? That would make too much sense. That is kind of crazy that they really don't tell you that. Interesting. But so Carson, the other thing I want to talk about is, I mean, the defense in this game. Western Kentucky, once again, this is a tournament team from last year, probably a tournament team from this year that is returning a lot of guys. Okay. And we held them to shoot 31% from the field and 15% from three. That'll work. That defense will work. That'll work all day long. And then, I mean, for us, we just didn't have our best shooting night. 8 for 29 from three. I think I was telling Mike, but I probably told you. I mean, Carson, we make 12 of those. You make 11 of those. We win this game 96-68, and I think the narrative's completely different. Completely different. We shoot 35% from the three, 43% whatever from the field, and win this game by 27, whatever that be points. This narrative's completely different. That's what I'm saying. I just, the threes didn't quite fall like we're used to.
And they were open. I mean, we just missed some open looks. And I mean, that's going to happen.
It's going to happen. But when you win and it happens, don't care. When you don't get UNC Wilmington, that's all I care about. So
you win by 19 points and only shoot. How well did you shoot? You shot
27.6% from three. Like, I mean, that's not great, but once again, I mean, it got the job done. You won the game by 19 darn points. So, all right, Carson, give me your thoughts. Give me your quick thoughts on the game tonight against Georgia State. I know you got to get to Heinz Field for a tour, and then give me quick thoughts on the Louisville game, and we'll get you out of here.
Awesome. So I'm not going to go into depth tonight because I think this should be a pretty easy game tonight against Georgia State. No disrespect.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to go right into predictions, honestly, because I feel like that's the best. I think Kentucky's going to win. Oof. I think we're going to break the century mark. We had our bad game. I think the shooters come out tonight, and I think we score 105 points, and we win 105 to – I'm going to say we play really good, 105 to 60. I think we win 105 to 60 tonight. And I think the player of the game is going to be, I think Jackson. Jackson's going to have a big game tonight.
Well, I'm not betting on him ever again because we'll bet on Ortega. That is easy. I think Kentucky wins this game like 92-64. I think it's going to be another blowout. I mean, I'm really excited for next week. Next week is going to be fun. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, next week is Clemson and Gonzaga, Tuesday, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to go to Clemson. Do I want to go to Clemson? I can't decide. I kind of want to go. But that's kind of what's going on here. I think it's I think we win that game that way. I think that I think we're going to see Kentucky win this game handsomely, and I think the MVP you know what? Let's do this. I think it's going to be Amari. I think he's going to have about 15 points, about 10 boards, and I think he's going to take care of the basketball and put up about 4 or 5 assists.
I like it.
Stick it into the universe. All right, Carson, predictions Saturday. Is that your prediction right there?
That's my prediction. Cutter Bowley, 4 Bills, Cats 27, Louisville 24. Let's go. L's down, little brother. L's down, little brother.
Yeah.
You still can't hang with us.
Yes. In our worst year and your solid year for you, we're gonna win. I hope so. So, all right.
If we don't win, just know we still own you. It's gonna take a lot to get back to where we are. And
we'll just dominate on the hardwood here soon, even though y'all got a good win against.
Let's talk about that for just a hair, just to roast. Indiana is awful. Oh my goodness, that was not a good win. That was an NIT basketball.
Yeah, Carson.
And I know you might not be able to see me because I'm frozen now, but that was an NIT game. So
NIT game. Maybe, but what about at least the NIT championship? Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm saying. That's fair. Okay. That could be an NIT
championship game. Louisville versus Indiana.
NIT.
You can find a place to bet on that.
16. Louisville versus Indiana.
Yeah. Jeez.
All right, but yeah, that's all I got.
That's going to do it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Big weekend to sports. Fantasy football playoffs are approaching for those that are still involved in that stuff. Big weekend to sports in the Bluegrass. Everyone enjoy the basketball game tonight. Enjoy the football game on Saturday. One last Saturday, and it's going to be a cold one. So everybody enjoy it. Have a great weekend. We got a big show coming up right next. Multiple shows next week, breaking down Clemson and Gonzaga. It's going to be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Have a great weekend. Hope everyone had a great holiday, and we'll see you all next time right here on the Wildcats Today podcast.